"This ranch was stolen from us," Amanda declared, her voice cutting through the New Year's Eve celebration. "And now it's time for you to leave, Sarah." I stood in our family ranch's kitchen, still holding the champagne bottle I'd been about to open. The countdown to midnight was minutes away, but my sister had chosen this moment to drop her bomb. "What are you talking about?" I asked, setting down the bottle carefully. Around us, the party guests, mostly local ranchers and their families, fell silent. Amanda pulled out a folder, her designer clothes looking oddly out of place in our rustic kitchen. "I found Grandfather's original will. He meant to leave Silver Creek Ranch to all of us, not just you. You manipulated him during his final days." I felt my chest tighten but kept my voice steady. "I did no such thing. Grandfather left me the ranch because I was the only one who cared about it." "Where were you when he needed help managing it during his last years?" "Getting my business degree," she shot back. "Unlike you, playing in the dirt with your precious soil samples and research projects." Those dirt samples were part of my agricultural research, studying sustainable farming methods that could revolutionize ranching in our drought-prone region. But Amanda had always dismissed my work, just like she dismissed the ranch itself until she realized its value. Our parents watched from the corner, their faces troubled. They'd moved to Arizona years ago, leaving Grandfather and me to manage Silver Creek. Now they seemed unsure whose side to take. "Show me this supposed will," I said, reaching for the folder. Amanda smirked, pulling it back. "Our lawyers will handle that. They've already filed the paperwork to contest Grandfather's final will. You have 30 days to vacate." The grandfather clock in the hall began to chime, announcing the approach of midnight. Guests shifted uncomfortably, some quietly gathering their coats. "You've never understood what this place means," I said, my voice low but firm. "It's not just land to be bought and sold. It's a legacy, a living laboratory. My research here could help ranchers across the state." "Oh, please," Amanda rolled her eyes. "Your little science experiments. I have developers interested in this property. Do you know what this land is worth?" "I know exactly what it's worth," I replied. "That's why Grandfather trusted me with it." The truth was more complicated than either of us knew. Grandfather had spent his final years working with me on something bigger than Amanda's development plans, bigger than even my agricultural research. But I kept his secret, just as I promised. "Ladies," our father stepped forward, ever the peacemaker. "It's New Year's Eve. Can't this wait?" "No, Dad, it can't." Amanda thrust the folder at him. "Read it yourself. The will Sarah submitted wasn't the real one. Grandfather wrote another version 3 months before he died." I watched my father open the folder, his hands trembling slightly. The documents inside looked official, but something felt off. Grandfather had been clear about his wishes, crystal clear. "There's something you should know," I started, but Amanda cut me off. "Save it. The lawyers say it's airtight. Your little reign over Silver Creek is over, sister dear." The clock struck midnight, but nobody cheered. No champagne corks popped. Instead, our guests began quietly filing out, leaving the family to our battle. As the door closed behind the last guest, I walked to Grandfather's old desk in the study. Amanda followed, probably expecting me to break down or beg. Instead, I pulled out my laptop and opened a file. "Remember all those soil samples you mocked?" I asked, typing in a password. "They weren't just for agricultural research." Amanda frowned. "What are you talking about?" "Grandfather and I weren't just studying farming methods. We were documenting something he discovered decades ago, something that makes this land worth far more than any developer could offer." My sister's face changed, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her features. "You're bluffing." "The lab results arrive next week," I said calmly. "Maybe you should wait to file those papers until after you see them." As Amanda stormed out, our parents lingering uncertainly in the doorway, I sat in Grandfather's old chair and opened the sealed letter he'd left me. Inside was the truth about Silver Creek Ranch, a truth that would change everything once the lab confirmed what we found in those soil samples. The real fight for Silver Creek was just beginning. The lab results arrived exactly 1 week after Amanda's New Year's Eve announcement. I sat in Grandfather's study, the sealed envelope heavy in my hands, while my phone buzzed with texts from Amanda's lawyers demanding access to the ranch's financial records. "Just open it," my best friend Maya urged. She'd driven 3 hours from her veterinary practice to support me through this. "Whatever's in there, we'll figure it out." I took a deep breath and broke the seal. As I read, my hands began to shake. "Sarah, Maya leaned forward. What is it? He was right, I whispered. Grandfather was right all along. The soil samples we'd spent 2 years collecting and analyzing contained traces of rare earth elements, crucial components in manufacturing everything from smartphones to electric vehicles. But what made our discovery unique was the concentration and purity levels, far higher than any commercial mining operation had found in the region. Grandfather had suspected this decades ago when he noticed unusual mineral formations while digging wells. Instead of alerting mining companies, he kept it quiet, knowing they would destroy the ranch's delicate ecosystem. He'd waited for someone who would understand the true value of the land, not just what could be extracted from it. My phone buzzed again. Amanda. The lawyers need access to the property for assessment. Stop being difficult. I showed Maya the text. She still thinks this is about real estate development. When are you going to tell her? Before I could answer, a truck roared up the driveway. Through the window, I watched Amanda step out, followed by 2 men in suits. Looks like Big Sister's done waiting, Maya muttered. I gathered the lab reports and tucked them into Grandfather's safe just as Amanda burst in. This is Mr. Reynolds and Mr. Chen, she announced. They represent the development group interested in the property. They need to survey the land. I stood slowly. No. You don't have a choice, Amanda snapped. The will contest is in process. You can't make unilateral decisions anymore. Actually, I can, I replied. I'm still the legal owner, and more importantly, I have evidence that Grandfather's new will might not be what you think it is. The developers exchanged glances. Good, let them worry. What evidence? Amanda demanded. I pulled out my phone and played a video, the last one Grandfather had recorded. In it, he sat in this very study, his voice weak but clear. Sarah, if you're watching this, someone's probably contested my decision to leave you Silver Creek. Likely your sister. She never could stand not getting her way. He chuckled weakly. But I chose you for a reason. You understand that this land is more than just acres to be sold. The samples we've been collecting, you'll know what to do when the results come in. Don't let anyone bully you into selling. Not developers, not mining companies, and certainly not your sister. Amanda's face had gone pale. When was this recorded? 2 days before he died, I said quietly. The same day he supposedly signed your mysterious new will. The developers were already backing toward the door, sensing that this wasn't the simple land grab they'd been promised. We'll need to reassess our position, Mr. Reynolds muttered. Ms. Amanda, we'll be in touch. After they left, Amanda rounded on me. What samples? What was he talking about? I studied my sister, seeing past her anger to something else. Fear. Fear that she'd miscalculated, that her perfect plan was unraveling. Remember when we were kids, I said slowly, and Grandfather used to tell us Silver Creek had magic in its soil. That wasn't just a bedtime story. Don't be ridiculous. The magic he meant was scientific. This ranch sits on one of the richest deposits of rare earth elements ever discovered in North America. That's what those soil samples were about. That's why he spent his last years teaching me about the land, about responsible stewardship. Amanda sank into a chair, her bravado cracking. You're lying. The lab results came today. Would you like to see them? She shook her head, looking lost. If what you're saying is true, we could make millions. That's not what this is about, I said firmly. Grandfather didn't keep this secret for decades just to have the land stripped bare by mining companies. He wanted it preserved, studied, used responsibly. That's why he chose me. But I'm your sister, she whispered. Doesn't that count for anything? I looked at her, remembering the little girl who used to follow me around the ranch before ambition and greed had changed her. It counts for everything. That's why I'm offering you a choice. She looked up, suspicious but listening. We can keep fighting, waste money on lawyers, drag the family through court. Or you can tear up that fake will. Don't deny it. We both know that's what it is, and we can work together. Not to sell the land, but to protect it while finding ethical ways to use its resources. Maya, who'd been quietly watching, spoke up. The veterinary school would love to partner on research projects. This could be revolutionary. Amanda was quiet for a long moment. Outside, the winter sun was setting over Silver Creek's rolling hills, painting the sky in colors that had captivated our family for generations. I need time to think, she finally said, standing up. Take all the time you need, I replied. The ranch isn't going anywhere. A month after the lab results arrived, I stood at Silver Creek's highest point, watching the sunrise paint the sky. The morning air was crisp, carrying the promise of early spring. Behind me, I heard footsteps approaching. "Still doing your morning ritual?" Amanda's voice was different now, softer, more like the sister I remembered from childhood. "Some things never change," I replied, turning to face her. After our confrontation, Amanda had disappeared for 2 weeks. No calls, no legal threats, just silence. When she finally returned, she brought not lawyers but a stack of research about sustainable mining practices and environmental conservation. "I've been thinking," she said, joining me at the fence, "about what grandfather used to tell us, that being a good steward means thinking 7 generations ahead." I nodded, remembering his wisdom. "He'd be proud to hear you say that." "The development company called again yesterday," she continued, "offered to triple their bid. And," a small smile played at her lips, "I told them Silver Creek wasn't for sale. At any price." The weight that had been sitting on my chest for weeks finally lifted. "Welcome home, sis." We stood in comfortable silence, watching the ranch come alive. In the distance, Maya's truck kicked up dust as she arrived for our morning research session. Since the discovery, we partnered with her veterinary school and a state university's agricultural department to study how to extract the rare earth elements without damaging the ecosystem. "You know," Amanda said, "my business degree might actually be useful here. We'll need someone to manage the partnerships, handle the contracts." "Are you offering?" "Maybe, if my sister's willing to trust me again." I turned to study her face, seeing real regret there. "The fake will was stupid and desperate," she finished. "I found a lawyer who specialized in contesting inheritances. He drew it up, made it look legitimate. I was so angry that grandfather had chosen you, I didn't stop to ask why. And now? Now I understand. You never saw Silver Creek as something to profit from. You saw it the way he did, as a legacy to protect." Maya pulled up, waving from her truck. Behind her came 2 more vehicles. The university research team, ready for another day of soil analysis and environmental impact studies. "We're doing this right," I said firmly. "No open pit mining, no destructive extraction methods. We find a way to access the resources while preserving the ranch, or we don't do it at all." Amanda nodded. "I've been researching new technologies in sustainable mining. There's a company in Sweden." She launched into an explanation of innovative extraction methods, her business acumen now focused on preservation rather than profit. I listened, smiling at her enthusiasm. Later that afternoon, we sat in grandfather's study, reviewing proposals from research institutions eager to partner with Silver Creek. The old desk was covered with papers, environmental impact studies, conservation plans, sustainable agriculture proposals. "Look what I found," Amanda said suddenly, pulling an old photo from between some files. It showed us as children, sitting on the porch with grandfather. She was holding a jar of soil, and I was clutching my first microscope, his gift for my 10th birthday. "He knew even then," I said softly. "He was preparing us both. My love for the science, your head for business. He was hoping we find a way to work together." "Better late than never," she offered tentatively. "Better late than never," I agreed. Maya poked her head in. "Preliminary results from the North Pasture are in. You both need to see this." We followed her to the makeshift lab we'd set up in the old barn. The research team was gathered around a computer, excitement visible on their faces. "The soil composition here isn't just rare," the lead scientist explained, pointing to the data. "It's unique. The way these elements have combined, we could be looking at new extraction methods that could revolutionize the entire industry." Amanda grabbed my hand, squeezing it like she used to when we were kids sharing a secret. Grandfather really did have magic in his soil. "Speaking of grandfather," I said, "there's something else he left. Something I've been waiting to show you." I led them back to the study and opened his safe. Inside was one final letter, addressed to both of us. "My dearest granddaughters," it read, "if you're reading this together, then Silver Creek's greatest treasure has done its work. Not the minerals in the soil, though those are precious enough. The real treasure was always the legacy of 2 sisters learning to be stewards together. Take care of the land, and it will take care of you. Take care of each other, and you'll never fail." Outside, the sun was setting on Silver Creek Ranch. But for the sisters who now shared its legacy, a new day was just beginning.